Welcome to the Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio. We've got a fast-paced hour of fishing, hunting, and conservation covering the nation and the Northwest, including 13 extra minutes of local content you'll only hear on Seattle's Sports Radio 950 KJR.
Good morning. The high buck hunt kicks off tomorrow in the wilderness areas of the Cascades and Olympic Peninsula. And for those of you in-shape hunters heading into the mountains, you have both my respect and wishes for a good hunt. I hope a whole bunch of you bag a 3-point or better buck. This week on the show, Bob Loomis is back again at the end of our program to talk walleye fishing, something that will dovetail nicely with another interview you'll be hearing about walleye during the hour ahead. At the bottom of the hour, we'll talk saltwater fishing off the Oregon coast and doing it out of a dory. That's right, no dock launch here. You are launching out of the surf with Pacific City Charters on the North Coast, and Mark Little will join us for both a fishing report and to tell you a little more about his operation. First off, though, you probably heard Walmart is halting the sale of handgun ammo and .223 caliber ammunition. Don't fret that, though. It's not like Walmart had a great supply or selection of that in their stores anyway. But one place that does, and a place that will always cater to the needs of legal firearms owners, is Sportsman's Warehouse. With locations in Everett, Federal Way, Puyallup, and Silverdale, they have the ammunition that's not available at Walmart. Now that you know where to buy ammo, let's tell you what's hot. This week in the Pacific Northwest, 147 coho were weighed in at the Edmonds Coho Derby last Saturday, to include a 7.8-pound fish weighed in by well-known outdoor social media influencer Gretchen Dearden that took second place, and a winning 8.75-pound fish brought to the scales by Eric Peterson, who took home a $5,000 first prize check. The final derby for the Northwest Salmon Derby Series this season takes place the 21st and 22nd. It's the Everett Coho Derby, and the biggest fish from this one is worth $10 grand. Better still, at the end of the event, there will be a drawing for that $75,000 tricked-out Aluma-Weld boat being given away by the folks that put together the Northwest Salmon Derby Series. Anyone who has bought a ticket to one of the derbies this year has got their names in the hat, and it's not too late to enter the Everett Coho Derby and get your name in that hat too. Go to everettcohoderby.com for details. Checking in with NorthwestFisheryReports.com, you probably know Chinook salmon fishing is closed below Bonneville Dam, but guide Jacob Munden posted it really can't get much better for action in the Columbia right now for kings. Munden thinks the states have underestimated the king run by a long shot and says they're spread out throughout the river to Hanford Reach. Trolling has been Munden's go-to with pro troll flashers and super baits or spinners. He also says these fish are snappy biters and very aggressive right now. Jacob still has a few, very few, openings left for this fall. His guide service is Munden's Rising Sun Adventures. Find a phone number and more information by checking out his Columbia River post at NorthwestFisheryReports.com. Finally, congratulations are in order to 16-year-old Cole Abshire. The Blaine, Washington teen was fishing at Lake Terrell in Whatcom County with a night crawler on 8-pound test line when suddenly a monster fish bit the line and started a fight. That monster fish was a 42-inch channel catfish, and Abshire was able to get it to shore. That catfish ended up weighing 37.7 pounds and is the new Washington state record, beating out the last one caught 20 years ago by nearly 2 pounds. Way to go, Cole. That is the fish of a lifetime, and at your age, I have a feeling you're going to catch a lot bigger ones too. And with that, you're now caught up and in the know about what's hot this week in the Pacific Northwest.
That's your first local shot of the outdoors. Now let's see what's going on across the nation.
From well-known saltwater hotspots to hidden alpine lakes, learn the latest in tips, tackle, and techniques to help you catch more fish.
It's going to be a great show.
Northwest Fishing Reports, Sundays at 5 p.m. on Q13 Fox.
Ready for more local fishing and hunting? You got it. It's the Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio, right here on Seattle's Sports Radio 950 KJR.
For your next local shot of the outdoors, we're taking you to Pacific City on the north coast of Oregon. That's where Captain Mark Lytle, the owner of Pacific City Fishing, has been out looking for salmon and more. Mark, great to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me today, John.
So how has the fishing been the last few days?
Oh, excellent. Every day that we get out there, we get our limits of rockfish and we get our limits of crab, and it's a staple there. That's why it's such a gift to be out of Pacific City. We don't fish in the hard winter, so our reef has a chance to rebuild its stocks, and then we utilize that all summer long.
Lots of black sea bass there, as lots of people call them. Everyone loves Dungeness crab. Have you been targeting those coho salmon or not?
Oh, absolutely. We have a non-select season that runs in September that the Oregon Fish and Wildlife gave us, and that we can go ahead and harvest any salmon that you can get to the net. And that has been including Chinooks. I'm really happy to see that the Chinooks are coming back this year. We haven't seen them for a couple of years, but they are amazing when they peel off 300 yards of line.
Now that we've got that, let's talk about fishing with you because it's a unique experience. You operate an open 22-foot Dory boat, so I'm guessing we're not meeting and launching from the Garibaldi Marina, are we?
No, everything is launching from the beach. Get you in the boat. It's turned around with the bow out to surf, which can be fairly dramatic and exciting, certainly when the waves are coming up and it looks like it's going to come right over the top of the boat, but then the bow rises up. That's the way those boats are built. And, of course, rain gear would be a great suggestion for everyone to bring, just in case you get a little bit of splash. But other than launching from the beach, and then you run out and you're fishing within 5 minutes, and then as you come back after we harvest our bounty, certainly landing on the beach is a big part of that. Come back at, I want to say, 700 miles an hour, it looks like, headed right to the beach. But you slide right up on the sand, and then you're safe and at home.
Oh, this sounds like a ton of fun. Folks, if you want to book a really unique fishing trip with Mark Lytle, he's been doing this a long time, go to his website, PacificCityFishing.com. That's PacificCityFishing.com. Fishing in an open Dory boat, catching rockfish, maybe some salmon, and bringing home some crab, too. Mark, thanks for sharing this with us today on America Outdoors Radio.
Thank you. You take care.
A seafood bounty is waiting for you on Northwest Oregon's Tillamook Coast. Catch a limit of big salmon, haul up a pot of delicious crab, and dig up a bunch of clams for some hot chowder. Plan your visit today at TillamookCoast.com.
I'm Bob Loomis, and I fish for walleye. Sometimes when I'm out on the water, I feel like a destroyer captain hunting for targets with my electronics. I'm not hunting submarines, though. I'm hunting fish, and when I find that big one on the fish finder, I want to make sure she's going to bite. That's where the Smile Blade Slow Death Rig from Max Lure comes in. The Smile Blade spins and flashes at ultra-slow speeds, and the one-of-a-kind red hook keeps that bait moving in a way the fish can't resist. It's the Smile Blade Slow Death Rig, only from Max Lure.
Don't leave yet. We've got one more local shot of fishing and hunting to wrap up the Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio.
It's September, and once again, it's time for another Max Minute. Brought to you every week by Max Lure Company. With us again, Bob Loomis. Bob, let's talk walleye fishing today.
Sounds good.
There's a few places that are going to be turning on this month. Obviously, the Columbia River, though, the lower you go, the more challenging it is because of all those shad smolter in the river right now. But certainly, places like Banks Lake and Potholes Reservoir should be turning on big time this month. And down in Oregon, there's a new place to fish in the Willamette Valley called Lookout Point Reservoir that actually has a walleye population. What's a lure you would recommend using this time of year?
John, this time of the year, I would probably go to a Smile Blade Super Slow Death Rig.
Okay, tell me why.
Well, we've designed these in forage-based colors, where they look like certain types of bait fish, forage bases that the fish are feeding on. And with the Smile Blade and the movement that you get out of that offset spinner blade, as well as all the colors and the high UV beads that we've got, they're fantastic, along with the Super Slow Death hook, where you thread that night crawler on there and you get that rotation of the bait. It looks like something, something is dying. So it has a tendency of really exciting the fish and really putting them in a biting mode.
It's funny. and we've had this discussion before, when this first came out about 3 years ago or so, the super slow death hook, I saw this and I thought, wait a second. I was always taught as a walleye angler, 10, 15 years ago, make sure you thread that crawler so it doesn't spin. You definitely don't want that crawler to spin. But this hook is all about making that crawler spin. So everything I was taught before was wrong?
Well, everything has its place. Sometimes, the rotation that you get out of that isn't going to excite the fish. It could spook the fish.
But this time of year, it is something that'll work.
Absolutely.
Bottom line is this. Whether you're fishing Washington or Oregon for walleye, consider the Smile Blade Super Slow Death Rig. It is a winner for this time of year. Thanks as always, Bob.
Thank you, John.
That's all for this week, but don't worry. We'll do it all again next Saturday morning from 7 to 8, right here on Seattle's Sports Radio 950 KJR.